Little did we know this was going to be our only procedure of the day. We thought it was something massive, but we didn't know it was that big. It was like a basketball. Hello, I'm Stephanie Sanders, and I used to be a surgical tech and anesthesia tech. I do vividly remember one particular story in which something had happened in the process of us getting ready to go home for the evening. Literally looked like it was a movie. It was a bunch of people in the room at one time. There was a set of nurses here, a set here. The patient was here, and there were multiple other people around the foot of the bed, and the main doctors that were working on the patient were on that right side of the bed. And so when we got in there and we got those things separated out, that's when I literally had an opportunity to take a look at the person that was over on the bed on the gurney. The person was laying there and they looked like literally somebody had hit them in their forehead with a hatchet or an axe. And it was not straight down, it was more like a little curve or something like that. I literally thought I was watching a horror movie and this was just a fake something here. And there was the weird thing about it was there was no blood. And the person started to code. And then one of the nurses that was on the side, it was two of them. One was a male and one was a female. The female, she jumped up there first and she was on the side of the patient and she was giving CPR, trying to resuscitate the patient. She was going, I mean, literally just going in, just going for broke, trying to help, trying to get things going again. They had the breathing and the counting and the compressions, and it was just amazing to see how they were just maneuvering through that thing. And people were counting, she was counting, they were counting, she was pressing. And so she kept going for a while, and they thought that they could just stop. And when they did stop, actually, they decided to use the paddles. And so they stepped back, they had the person step back and then asked for it to be cleared. And then they moved on and they used the paddles on that particular patient at the time. It did help some at that moment, but that same nurse had to continue on to do more compressions, and she was working hard too. She was working hard, so hard that she had jumped up on the table over the and straddled the patient, and she was working. But you could see that she was getting tired. And when that happened, I mean, everything was moving so quickly, so fast in there. When they noticed that she was slowing down and getting a little tired or whatever, then it was almost like they started calling out. But there was already someone there on the side, and he was like tapping in, almost like a wrestling match or something. He was literally tapping in to let her know, okay, come on, I got it. I got it next. So they helped her down and out of the way. And then he proceeded to jump straight up on the table. He didn't see them stand on the side. He didn't do any of that. He just jumped straight on the table like she was prior to, and he was going to town. He was going to town with the compressions and everything. They were really, really trying. I must, I must commend them for their efforts, for the way that they were working together. The teamwork that they had going on was amazing. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And so as he continued to work, people were moving about, getting other equipment and things like that together as the doctor was calling out certain things, okay, that they may need to do or whatnot. And then they stopped for a moment and they used the paddles again. And then they went on to continue the compressions a little bit more. Now, during that time is when the nurse that was standing there, she looked over and she said to me and the other person that was with me working that night, she said, you can go, you can go. And I looked at her and the other girl looked at me. And then we both looked at her as if to say, are you sure? Do you want us to move? Do we need to do anything else? We don't want to leave if there's anything else that you may need from down in our unit. And so she reached over and she just touched me, real gentle, just touched me. And she just said, you can go, something to that effect. We can leave now. And it's time for you guys to go. And so we looked at each other again and then we went on out. And as we went on out, we were just talking amongst ourselves. We were in such amazement from this and what had just happened. We had never, ever experienced anything that urgent just yet in our career and what we were doing at that time, it was so amazing to see and so amazing to see the people in the unit coming together. That's what I loved so much. And as we went off, we went on about our way, and then we came back to work the next day. And when we came back to work, we found out that the person did not make it. They did not make it. They continued their efforts to try and help them and save them, but it did not. And lo and behold, that person passed on. Found out that it was a car accident the person had, and they actually had went through the windshield. Don't know where the head injury came about. Was it on the visor part or whatnot like that? Or was it in going through and hitting on the opposite side once they went through the windshield? But it was something else to see. It was really, really something else to see and to hear that they did not make it. It was sad within itself. But from an injury, just that one injury that I saw, that at first, yeah, all I could do was just accept that fact that they did not. Yeah. There was another time when I was working in another state, and this particular time there was two of us in there, and I was working in the surgical tech capacity at that time. We had a lot of instruments out, all of it set up, ready to go, everything. We didn't have as much as like an orthopedic procedure might be, but we had quite a few because we knew that this particular patient had some sort of tumor or mass in their abdominal area. And so we were prepared with all of the bigger retractors and things like that to be able to work this situation out. So the doctor came in, and he came in with his PA that was helping out with that procedure for the day. This was our very first procedure of the day. Little did we know this was going to be our only procedure of the day. Did you get me? I said only procedure of the day. What started out to be something like a couple of hours, maybe turned into the entire day for us to work on this. So when they came in, they were working on the patient, and we were helping. We got to a point to where they made the incision. They were going to go in and get the mass out and then have it tested and so forth. And then we were retracting it open for them to get it out, because when they opened it up, it was a lot bigger than what was anticipated, especially on our end. We thought it was something massive, but we didn't know it was that big. It was like a basketball, and it wasn't even really showing on the patient's stomach and the abdominal area when we laid them down. So it's kind of like the mass that took up a space inside of their body and maybe kind of pushed the other organs and things out of place, because the doctor went on to start removing it. And it was a lot of scar tissue in there. So they removed that slowly but surely, slowly but surely. But it was so big. It was so big. And as they got around to the underside of the tumor, the mass that was in there, they were just about done. I mean, literally just about done. But something was holding on to that mass on the underside of that person's body, and they could not see what it was. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know if they should be trying to cut what they felt was another bit of scar tissue. Wasn't sure if they should be cutting that because they couldn't see it. So that in itself was just so amazing for people. People started coming in to just take a look and see. Just take a look and see. This thing was big. It was big, and they were still trying to get it out. So they ended up having to call in another surgeon to come in. And like I said before, this was the only procedure we did that day. A whole 8 hours in there. We took our break, we took our lunch, we came back, and it was still going on. And when I left, it was still going on. And the other person that was with me, they went ahead and they stayed to help finish out things, but it was a long time of just standing there and helping out and holding, tiring on the arms, because we were holding and then we put some other retractors on there, but for the most part, to try and help to maneuver around the thing so that he could stick his hands down in there. We were holding in certain areas and moving the retractors just a little bit here and there to kind of help them out. But after I left, I heard that they had actually gotten the mass out. It was major, it was a major mass. And they finally got it out. People were so amazed at what it was, how long it took. They actually had to bring another surgeon in for this procedure. And it was amazing. It was amazing to see that come out of somebody's body. And it was benign. I was like, wow, 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 wow. But that's just some of the things that I had experienced. Just awesome moments in surgery, great teamwork coming together to help people out. And that's what I loved about seeing that. I really love that in any type of work environment, the way people can come together, work as a team, knowing that every part, every person in that room plays a part, plays a role in this whole thing to make it all come out the way it's supposed to. There's no one person that can get the job done solely, totally on their own. And that was just a testament to that and working with all those people.